Make sure you clean the floor and glasses very well. I don't condone laziness.
The woman cleaning the floors of Osei Jules was ignored by everyone who worked there. The manager walked past her. The sales staff laughed near her. Customers stepped around her like she was invisible. For 5 days, they treated her like she was nobody. What they didn't know was that the woman holding the mop was not an employee. She was the owner's daughter. And she had come to discover something money could never reveal: who people truly were when they thought nobody important was watching. At exactly 7:48 on a Monday morning, Amanda Osei walked into the staff entrance of Osei Jules. She wore a simple brown coat she bought from a charity shop. Plain shirt, black trousers, old but clean shoes. Nothing about her suggested wealth. Nothing about her suggested power. Nothing about her suggested that her name was written on every legal document connected to the company. She carried a small canvas bag over her shoulder and stood quietly in the hallway, waiting. A group of employees walked past her. Nobody greeted her. One young man almost bumped into her. He looked annoyed that she was standing in his way. "Excuse me," he said, not because he was being polite, because she was blocking his path. Amanda moved aside. The man continued walking. He never looked back. She watched him disappear. Then she quietly said to herself, "Interesting," because Amanda had learned something from her father. People showed you who they were when they believed you had nothing to offer them. And she had come here to find out exactly what kind of people were running his store. Osei Jules was not an ordinary jewelry store. It was the kind of place people entered and immediately fixed their posture. The floors were black marble. The lights were warm gold. Every display case looked like it belonged inside a palace. The diamonds and gemstones were arranged like pieces in a museum. Her father, Richard Osei, had built the company from nothing. He always told Amanda, "A beautiful product means nothing if the people selling it have ugly hearts." She remembered laughing the first time he said it. She thought it was just something a father said. But after he passed away, she found his old notes. Hundreds of pages. Business plans, ideas, letters, and one sentence written over and over: "Never forget the person in front of you is more valuable than the thing you are selling them." That was why she was there. Not to count money, not to inspect diamonds, to inspect people. At 7:55, Diana arrived. Everyone knew when Diana arrived. The atmosphere changed. Employees stood straighter. Conversations stopped. She walked through the door like the store belonged to her. Tall, elegant, perfectly dressed. Her heels made a sharp sound against the marble floor. Amanda watched carefully. Diana noticed her immediately. "You must be the temporary worker." Her eyes moved from Amanda's coat to her shoes. A 2-second inspection. But Amanda noticed. People always revealed more in small moments than big ones. "Yes," Amanda replied. Diana handed her a clipboard. "You'll handle cleaning, restocking, and assisting where needed." Amanda nodded. "Understood." Diana turned away, then stopped. "One more thing. You don't speak to customers unless a senior employee asks you to." Amanda looked up. "Why?" Diana smiled slightly. Not a friendly smile. A warning. "Because customers come here for expertise." She looked Amanda up and down. Not everyone is qualified to represent luxury. Then she walked away. Amanda stood there silently. She didn't get angry. She didn't argue. She simply wrote something on her clipboard. Day 1. Manager judges people. At 9 o'clock, the doors opened, and Amanda saw something strange. Everyone changed. The employees who ignored her suddenly became different people. Smiling, helpful, warm, almost magical. Amanda watched them welcome the first customer. A wealthy woman entered wearing expensive jewelry. Diana appeared immediately. "Good morning, Mrs. Mensah. It's wonderful to see you again." The woman smiled. Everyone treated her like royalty. Amanda cleaned a display case nearby. Then another customer entered. A young woman, maybe 23, simple clothes, a small backpack. She looked nervous. She walked to Priya, one of the sales assistants. "Excuse me." I want to see some rings. It's my mother's birthday. Amanda looked up, because she expected the same welcome, the smile, the warmth, the kindness, but it disappeared. Only slightly, only enough for someone paying attention. Rings are over there, Priya said. The girl looked confused. Oh, could you maybe help me choose? Priya sighed. What kind of budget? The girl hesitated. Amanda saw the embarrassment on her face. I'm not sure. I just want something meaningful. Priya opened the display. These are the cheaper ones. The words were quiet, but they landed heavily. The girl's face changed. Not angry, not offended, just disappointed. Amanda noticed. She always noticed. The girl looked at the rings one last time. Then she said, "Thank you," and walked out. Nobody stopped her, except Amanda. She watched the door close, then looked at the staff, and wrote another note. Day 1, they don't treat everyone equally. By Tuesday morning, Amanda had already learned something important. People could reveal their entire character without ever saying the words they believed. A glance, a pause, a change in tone. A person could insult you without ever raising their voice. And sometimes the quietest actions were the loudest. At 10:30 that morning, Amanda was cleaning one of the lower display cases when she heard footsteps behind her. "You're missing a spot." She looked up. It was the same man from the hallway, the one who had walked past her on Monday. Except this time he wasn't ignoring her. He was standing there holding a clipboard. His name tag read, Seo Jun. Amanda looked back at the glass. "There?" She pointed. He nodded. "Right there." Amanda wiped the small mark away. "Better." He looked carefully. "Perfect." She almost smiled. Almost. Most people would have stopped there. But Seo Jun was different. He didn't walk away immediately. He noticed things. "You're new." "Yes." "First job." Amanda looked at him. Interesting question. Not, "Who are you?" Not, "Why are you here?" Just a simple observation. Something like that. He nodded. Then he noticed her cleaning supplies. "You weren't given the access card for the storage room." Amanda raised an eyebrow. "You noticed?" He looked confused. "Everyone should have one." A strange answer, because most people would have said, "That's not my problem." But he acted like fixing a problem was the normal thing to do. He removed his own access card. "Use mine." Amanda looked at it. "You need this." "I'll survive 5 minutes without it." She studied him. "Why are you helping me?" Seo Jun looked genuinely confused by the question. "Because you needed help." That was it. No hidden reason. No expectation. Just a simple answer. Amanda watched him walk away. Then she quietly wrote another note. Day 2. Some people are still the same when nobody is watching. At lunch, Amanda sat alone. Not because she wanted to, because nobody invited her. The break room was small. For employees sat together, talking and laughing. Amanda ate quietly. She had become very good at being invisible. Then the door opened. An older woman walked in carrying a food container. Silver hair. Warm smile. The kind of person whose kindness arrived before their words did. She saw Amanda, and immediately smiled. "You're new." Amanda looked up. "Yes." The woman sat beside her. "I'm Grace." Amanda nodded. "Nice to meet you." Grace opened her food, then pushed some toward Amanda. "Try this." Amanda looked surprised. "You don't even know me." Grace laughed. "Exactly. That's usually when people need kindness the most." That sentence stayed with Amanda. Nobody in the store had spoken like that. Grace noticed her expression. "You've already seen it, haven't you?" "Seen what?" Grace lowered her voice. "The store." Amanda stayed silent. Grace sighed. "I've worked here 11 years. She looked around the room. When Richard Osei was alive, this place was different. Amanda froze. Her father. What was he like? Grace smiled. Different. She thought for a moment. He remembered names. He listened. He didn't care if someone came in wearing a designer suit or old sandals. Her smile faded slightly. He always said a person should never feel poor because of what they wear. Amanda looked down. That sounded exactly like him. What happened? Grace looked toward the store. People forgot. A pause. Slowly. The next few days, Amanda continued watching. And every day she discovered more. Marcus, the confident salesman, treated wealthy customers like friends. Everyone else like interruptions. Priya judged customers before they even spoke. And Diana? Diana was the most dangerous. Because she was not openly cruel. She was polite, professional, controlled. She knew exactly how to make someone feel unwelcome without giving them anything they could complain about. It was Wednesday morning, 2 days into Amanda's time at Osei Jewels. She was on her knees, cleaning the base of a display case in the center of the floor. It was not a glamorous job, but she did it carefully, the way she did everything. She didn't hear Diana approach. She rarely heard Diana approach. Diana moved like she owned the air in the room, which she believed she did. Stop! Amanda looked up. Diana was standing over her, arms folded, head slightly tilted, the expression of a woman who had found exactly what she was looking for. Diana pointed at the glass case above Amanda's head. What is that? Amanda looked. There was a small smear, barely visible, the kind of thing most people would never notice. I see it, Amanda said. I'll clean it now. You've been here 40 minutes, Diana said. Her voice was calm, that particular kind of calm that is more dangerous than shouting. 40 minutes on this floor and you missed that. Amanda reached for her cloth. It's a small. I didn't ask for your analysis. The floor nearby went quiet. Priya had stopped pretending to arrange rings. Marcus had turned slightly from his position near the entrance. 2 or 3 other employees had found reasons to slow down. Diana took 1 step closer. She looked down at Amanda, still on her knees, and she let that image sit for a moment, like she was enjoying it. In this store, Diana said, loud enough for the floor to hear, standards are not optional. She looked at the smear. When a customer walks through that door, they should not see a single fingerprint, a single mark, a single sign of carelessness. She looked back down at Amanda. Because carelessness reflects the person responsible for it. A pause, heavy and deliberate. And right now, Diana continued, you are making this store look exactly as it would without proper standards. She looked at Amanda's hands, her plain clothes, her worn shoes, which is to say, cheap. Someone nearby made a small sound, quickly swallowed. Diana turned to address the floor, like a teacher making an example of a pupil. This is why we have standards. This is why not everyone is qualified to work in this environment. She gestured toward Amanda without looking at her. Some people require constant supervision because they lack the instinct for excellence. Marcus was smiling, not openly, just at the corners of his mouth. The kind of smile a person wears when they want to laugh but know better. Priya had turned away, but her shoulders were shaking slightly. Amanda cleaned the smear. Slowly, thoroughly. She said nothing. Diana watched her, then leaned down very slightly, just enough for her voice to drop. When you finish this case, she said quietly, you'll do the floor in the back corridor, on your hands and knees, with the small brush. She straightened. Not the mop, the brush. A pause. Some lessons need to be learned in the right position. Then she walked away, her heels sharp against the marble. Amanda stayed on her knees, her cloth in her hand, her face completely still. She was not ashamed. She was not broken. She was remembering. Her father, kneeling on this very floor once, helping a cleaner who had spilled a bucket of water near the entrance. Other staff had stepped around the mess. Her father had gotten down and helped clean it up himself. He was wearing a suit that cost more than most people's monthly salary. He didn't care. She thought about that. She picked up her cloth and went to find the small brush. She came back on Thursday morning. The girl from Monday, the one who had walked in with hope and left with nothing. But this time she was not alone. She was pushing a wheelchair, and in the wheelchair sat a small woman. Thin arms, silver hair, a yellow headscarf tied neatly, the kind of headscarf worn by a woman who is fighting something quietly, but chose to look beautiful anyway. The girl leaned down and whispered something to her mother. The woman smiled, tired, but real. They moved through the entrance slowly. Nobody came forward. Priya looked up from a display she was arranging, looked back down. Marcus was near the door with his phone. He half-turned, turned back. The girl pushed the chair toward the ring display. She pointed at something behind the glass. Her mother leaned forward. Her eyes lit up. Just enough. Just for a moment. Amanda watched all of this from the far side of the room. She heard Diana's voice in her head. You don't speak to customers unless a senior employee asks you to. She looked at Priya. Still busy. She looked at Marcus. Still on his phone. She looked at the girl, who was now turning around slowly, looking for help that wasn't coming. Amanda set down her cloth and walked across the floor. Good morning. The girl looked up, surprised by the warmth in the voice. I saw you looking at the rings, Amanda said. She was already moving behind the display case, like it was the most natural thing in the world. It's my mum's birthday, the girl said. Her voice was careful, like she expected to be redirected to a cheaper section. Amanda looked at the woman in the wheelchair. Happy birthday. The woman smiled, a full smile. Thank you, my dear. Amanda crouched slightly. Eye level. What kind of rings do you love? The woman thought. Something simple. I never liked too much noise on my fingers. Amanda reached into the case without hesitation. She had spent days memorizing every piece in this store. She placed 3 rings on the counter. A sapphire, a low-set diamond, a soft emerald. The woman's breath caught. Her eyes went straight to the sapphire. My husband gave me a blue dress on our first date, she said softly. He always said blue was my color. Amanda looked at the ring, then at the woman. He was right. The woman laughed, light and surprised and real. Her daughter's eyes filled with tears she was fighting hard to keep back. Amanda began explaining the ring gently, the quality of the stone, the weight of the band. She spoke the way her father taught her, not like a salesperson, like someone who cared about the person in front of her. She didn't hear Diana approach. The first sign was the silence that spread across the floor, like something cold moving through the room. Excuse me. Diana's voice, quiet, controlled, dangerous. Amanda straightened. Diana was standing behind her, perfect as always, but her eyes were a different temperature entirely. A word. Now. Amanda looked at the woman in the wheelchair. One moment, please. She followed Diana 3 steps away, far enough for the illusion of privacy, close enough for everything to be seen. Diana didn't lower her voice. That was deliberate. I told you on your first day that you do not serve customers. Nobody else was helping them, Amanda said. That is not your decision to make, Diana said. You are here to clean. Nothing more. The customer needed. I don't care what the customer needed. The words dropped into the room like something heavy. The girl with the wheelchair heard it. Her face changed. Diana took 1 step forward. She was done with quiet. Let me be very clear, she said, raising her voice now, addressing the floor as much as Amanda. This is not a place where people without training, without qualifications, without the appropriate... She paused and looked Amanda up and down slowly. Presentation, walk behind my display cases and handle my merchandise. She gestured at Amanda's clothes. You were hired to clean floors, not to play sales assistant. A pause that lasted just long enough to hurt. And certainly not to pretend you belong here. The room was completely silent. Every employee frozen. Every customer within earshot had stopped moving. The girl behind Amanda made a small wounded sound. Amanda stood completely still, her face calm, her hands at her sides. Diana turned to the woman in the wheelchair with a smooth, professional smile. I sincerely apologize for any confusion. Please allow one of our qualified consultants to assist you. She signaled Priya with a sharp look. Priya came forward immediately, smiling, like she hadn't just watched a woman be publicly dismantled. Diana turned back to Amanda. Her voice dropped to just above a whisper, the kind of whisper designed to be heard. "Give me your ID badge." Amanda looked at her. "Your services are no longer required here." Diana held out her hand. "Badge. Now." Somewhere nearby, Marcus made a small sound. Amusement barely concealed behind his hand. Priya had turned slightly away, but her shoulders were shaking. Amanda reached into her pocket. She placed the badge into Diana's outstretched palm. She did not throw it. She did not slam it. She placed it, with the same quiet precision she had cleaned every display case. Then she picked up her small canvas bag from behind the counter. She put it over her shoulder. She looked at Diana one last time. Just looked. A long, even completely unreadable look. Then she turned to the girl and her mother. "The sapphire," she said quietly. "It's the right one." She walked toward the exit. Diana's voice followed her. "Security." 2 security guards appeared. One moved to Amanda's left, one to her right, like she was a threat, like she was dangerous, like she needed to be removed by force from a building she owned. Amanda didn't fight it. She didn't resist. She walked between them with her canvas bag on her shoulder and her back completely straight. Behind her she heard Marcus laugh. "Open now. No longer bothering to hide it. Some people just don't know their place." Priya shook her head. "Embarrassing." The doors closed behind Amanda. She stood on the pavement outside, the morning sun on her face, traffic moving past, people walking by who had no idea what had just happened inside that building. She breathed in slowly, breathed out. Then she took out her phone and made one call. "It's time," she said. Seo Jun stood at his desk that evening, long after the store had closed, long after everyone else had gone home. He had a letter in his hand. He had read it so many times the paper had softened at the folds. Richard Osei had hired him 14 months ago. Not through the normal process. Not through Diana. Richard had found him through a mutual contact. Called him personally. Met him in a quiet restaurant. And told him the truth. "I built something," Richard had said. "And I'm dying. And someone is taking it apart piece by piece while I'm too sick to stop them." He had looked at Seo Jun with eyes that were tired but still sharp. "I need someone inside. Someone Diana doesn't know I trust. Someone who can watch and wait and document everything." Seo Jun had asked the obvious question. "Why me?" Richard had smiled. "Because you have no reason to be loyal to Diana. And every reason to be loyal to the truth." For 14 months, Seo Jun had done exactly that. He had watched. He had documented. He had built a file so detailed and so carefully evidenced that even Diana's best lawyer would not be able to dismantle it. He had also waited for something Richard told him on their last meeting, 2 weeks before Richard passed. "My daughter will come," Richard had said. "I don't know when. I don't know how she'll arrive. But she will come." He had leaned forward. "She will not announce herself. She'll be careful. She'll watch before she moves." A pause. "But watch her eyes, Seo Jun. Her eyes will be exactly like mine." He had never told Seo Jun her name, never shown him a photograph. So when a quiet woman in a plain brown coat had appeared on Monday morning and spent 4 days watching everything without appearing to, Seo Jun had felt something. Pull he couldn't explain, like recognizing a song before you remember the words. But he had told himself it was coincidence. He had talked himself out of it. Because she was just a temporary cleaner. She had a canvas bag and old shoes. She had just been thrown out by security. He sat down heavily in his chair. He opened the letter again. "Watch her eyes, Seo Jun. Her eyes will be exactly like mine." He thought about the moment in the corridor. When he had told her she reminded him of someone. The way she had paused. The way she had asked who. The way she hadn't pushed when he didn't answer. He thought about her eyes. He stood up so fast his chair rolled back and hit the wall. He grabbed his phone. Found the number Richard had given him. The number he was told to use only when the moment came. His hands were not completely steady when he dialed. It rang twice. A woman answered. A professional voice. "Amanda Osei's office." Seo Jun closed his eyes. "Tell her," he said quietly. That the evidence is ready. Friday morning, 8:47 a.m. The store had been open 47 minutes. Everything was normal. Diana was in her office reviewing reports. Marcus was on the floor charming a wealthy client. Priya was straightening the bracelet display. And then the doors opened. Amanda walked in first. No brown coat, no canvas bag, no worn shoes. A black dress, perfectly fitted. Low heels that made a different sound on the marble. A single piece of jewelry. A sapphire ring on her right hand. Her mother's ring. Her father's first gift to her mother because blue was her color. She walked through the door like someone walking into a room they had never left. Behind her came 3 people. A woman in a sharp gray suit carrying a leather briefcase. A man in a dark navy jacket with a tablet already open. And a third person. A senior partner from one of Lagos's most respected law firms, who looked like someone who had dismantled companies before breakfast. Priya looked up from the bracelet display. She saw Amanda. Something crossed her face. Confusion first, then a cold feeling she couldn't name. Marcus turned from his client. He looked at Amanda, then at the people behind her. His smile stayed on his face, but it stopped working. It just sat there, empty. Amanda did not stop at reception. She did not ask for anyone. She walked directly toward Diana's office. The entire floor watched. She knocked once, opened the door, stepped inside. Diana looked up from her desk. She saw Amanda. Her expression arranged itself into its professional setting. The one with the polished surface and the cold underneath. This area is for authorized. I know, Amanda said. She walked to Diana's desk and placed a business card on it. Face up, centered, like she had been waiting to do it for a very long time. Diana looked down. Amanda Osei, Chief Executive Officer, Osei Jewels. The room was completely silent. Diana looked up slowly. Something was happening behind her eyes. A rapid, private calculation, running through every conversation, every dismissal, every humiliation, the dust scene, the corridor, the floor, the security guards. Her mouth opened. You! The board meeting is at 10, Amanda said. I expect you to be there. Diana stood. You have no authority to call a board. The shareholder agreement gives the majority owner the right to call an emergency board meeting at any time. Amanda's voice was completely even. I own 63%. Diana's jaw tightened. You spent a week cleaning my floors. My floors, Amanda said. The 2 words landed like something dropped from a great height. Amanda turned to leave. She paused at the door, looked back. Diana. Diana looked at her. Amanda said the exact words Diana had said to her on day 1. Word for word. Tone for tone. Not everyone is qualified to represent luxury. She walked out. The news moved through the store in under 4 minutes. Nobody said it out loud. They didn't have to. Passed from face to face. In glances and sharp intakes of breath and the sudden stillness of people realizing they had made a catastrophic error of judgment. Priya stood very still near the bracelet display. Her face had gone the color of old paper. Marcus had walked away from his client mid-sentence. He was standing near the back corridor, looking at nothing. The smile completely gone now. Just a man doing very fast mental arithmetic about his future. Grace was in the break room when she heard. She sat down slowly, pressed her hands flat on the table, and said very quietly to the empty room, Richard, like she was talking to someone who could hear her. You clever, patient man. 10 o'clock. The boardroom of Osei Jewels. A room that had last been used to divide Richard Osei's company without his blessing. 7 people around the table. Amanda at the head. Her father's chair. Her lawyer to her right. The auditor to her left. Seo Jun sat near the wall. Not at the table. He had not been invited as a board member. He was there as something else. Diana entered last. Still composed. Still performing. Because she didn't know how to stop. Gerald Owusu, Richard's oldest friend, the board member Diana had quietly turned, came in beside her. He sat down without looking at Amanda. That alone told the room everything. Amanda let the silence sit. Just for a moment. Long enough for everyone to feel it. Then she opened the folder in front of her. And she began. She did not shout. She did not perform. She simply spoke. And presented. Page by page. Number by number. Date by date. Supplier invoices inflated by 30% and the difference redirected to a private account. Commission structures rewritten after Richard's death to benefit Marcus specifically. 3 board decisions made without the required quorum because Gerald had quietly abstained from the notification process. Inventory marked as damaged and written off, then sold privately through a third party. 3 years. Documented. Evidenced. Irrefutable. Diana tried to speak twice. Amanda continued as if she hadn't heard her. Like Diana was simply weather. Something to be noted and moved through. The third time Diana spoke, her voice had changed. It was no longer controlled. This is circumstantial. You can't prove. Co. June. Amanda said his name quietly. He stood. He placed a second folder on the table. Thicker than Amanda's. 14 months of documentation. Photographs. Receipts. Recorded conversations. Bank transfer records. He looked at Diana as he sat back down. Mr. Richard Osei placed me in this company to watch what was being done to it, he said. He told me someone would come to take back what belonged to this family. A pause. I didn't know it would take watching her get escorted out of her own building before I understood who she was. Diana stared at him. Something collapsed behind her eyes. The performance finally over. Underneath it was just a woman who had run out of road. Gerald Owusu pushed his chair back. He stood. He looked at Amanda for the first time since entering the room. His face was old and ashamed and tired. Richard was my friend, he said. I have no excuse. The board voted. Took 6 minutes. Diana sat very still while the results were read. Like if she didn't move, the moment would pass. It didn't pass. Diana Mensah, your position as general manager is terminated effective immediately. You are further subject to civil and criminal proceedings for financial misconduct totaling. The lawyer read the number. Out loud. Into the room. Diana's face didn't move. But her hands did. They pressed flat against the table. Like she needed something solid to hold on to. Gerald made a sound beside her. Small and broken. Like air leaving something that had been punctured. Amanda said nothing. She just watched. The lawyer finished reading. Closed his folder. Looked at Amanda. She nodded once. He opened the boardroom door, and 2 police officers stepped in. Diana looked at them. Then at Amanda. You called the police. 3 days ago, Amanda said. When I read my father's file. Diana stood slowly. This is unnecessary. I will cooperate fully with any... Mrs. Mensah. The officer's voice was not unkind. But it was final. Please place your hands behind your back. Something happened to Diana's face in that moment. The mask she had worn for 3 years. The composure. The elegance. The performance of a woman who believed she was untouchable that IT cracked. Not dramatically. Not in tears or shouting. Just gone. Like a light switched off. What was underneath was smaller. Just a woman. Afraid. The handcuffs clicked into place. Gerald didn't wait to be asked. He stood. His hands were already shaking. I'll cooperate, he said. To no one in particular, to everyone, to Richard, maybe to the air. The second officer moved toward him, Gerald Owusu. Richard Osei's oldest friend, best man at his wedding, godfather too. He couldn't finish that thought. His hands went behind his back. The click of the cuffs was very loud in the quiet room. He finally looked at Amanda. His eyes were wet. He trusted me, Gerald said. His voice was barely there. I. No, Amanda said. She held his gaze. That's why you're the one who hurt him most. Gerald looked away. And didn't look back. Diana was led toward the door first. She passed Amanda. Close enough that they could have spoken. Diana kept her eyes forward. Her chin up. One last performance. Even now. Even in handcuffs. Even with everything gone. She kept her chin up. Amanda watched her pass and said nothing, because Diana's silence was already saying everything. They walked out through the boardroom door. into the corridor. Past Seo Jun, who was standing against the wall that he watched them pass. His face completely still. Then they came through the door onto the main store floor, and the entire floor saw them. Every employee. Every customer who happened to be standing near the back. Priya dropped the bracelet she was holding that it hit the marble with a sharp sound. Marcus was frozen near the entrance. His face the color of old ash, his mouth slightly open. Diana walked through her store for the last time that I in handcuffs. Past the black marble floors she had made Amanda scrub on her hands and knees. Past the display cases she had pointed at to humiliate her. Past the entrance where security had dragged Amanda out like a criminal. The gold lights still warm above her. The diamonds still arranged like a museum. Nothing had changed and everything had. Marcus and Priya were suspended pending criminal investigation. All redirected funds were to be recovered in full. A civil suit would follow. The doors closed behind them. Amanda sat alone in the boardroom for a few minutes. Just breathing. Just being still. She had been holding so much. For so long. The grief. The mission. The weight of her father's name on every wall of this building. She let herself feel it. All of it. For exactly 3 minutes. Then she stood up. And went to work. The store was completely silent. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Amanda walked out from the corridor. She stood on the main floor. She looked around the room. At her staff. At her store. At everything her father built. She spoke once. Quietly. But the silence was so complete that everyone heard her. Get back to work. A pause. We have customers to take care of. And one by one they moved. Because the woman standing in the center of that floor was not asking. And she was not performing. She simply knew exactly where she was. And who she was. And what this place was for. That was the difference between Amanda and Diana. Diana had always needed people to feel small so she could feel tall. Amanda didn't need anything from anyone in that room. She was already complete. Her father had made sure of it. Grace found her on the floor 20 minutes later. Amanda was standing in the center of the store, just looking around, at the black marble, the gold lights, the displays her father had designed himself. Grace walked up beside her, stood there quietly for a moment. He would have been proud. Amanda didn't answer right away. Do you remember the girl who came in twice? With her mother in the wheelchair. Grace nodded. Find me her contact details if you can. Amanda looked at the sapphire display case. I want to send her the ring. Complimentary. Grace stared at her. That ring is worth. I know what it's worth. Amanda looked at Grace. My father said a person should never feel poor because of what they wear. He was waiting outside her office door. He had a coffee. He held it out without a word when she appeared. She took it. They stood in the corridor together. The building quiet around them. He described you, Seo Jun said after a while. Your father. When he hired me, he looked at the floor. He said you would arrive quietly, that you would watch before you moved, that you would be underestimated. He looked up. He said to watch your eyes, that they would be exactly like his. Amanda was quiet. He never told me your name, Seo Jun said. Never showed me a photograph. His voice was steady, but there was something underneath it. Something that had been sitting there since the night before in the parking lot. I watched you get humiliated all week. I watched security walk you out. A pause. And I didn't know. He looked at her directly. I'm sorry. Amanda looked back at him. You kept his evidence safe for 14 months, she said. You stayed in a building run by someone who tried to have you removed. You documented everything. You were ready when it mattered. A pause. My father chose well. Seo Jun was quiet for a moment. Then, what do you need from me going forward? She thought about it. The same thing my father needed. She looked at him. Someone who tells me the truth even when it's inconvenient. He nodded slowly. I can do that. She started walking toward the floor. He fell into step beside her. 3 weeks later, a video appeared online. A young woman, sitting beside a hospital bed. Her mother in the bed beside her, smiling. On her finger, a sapphire ring. Catching the light, the caption read, My mum said blue was always her color. A woman at Osei Jewels made sure she got to wear it. We don't know who she was, but she treated my mum like she was the most important person in the room. That's what luxury actually looks like. 2 million views by the end of the week. Amanda saw it on a Friday morning. She didn't post anything. She didn't share it. She just sat with it for a moment. Then she opened her notebook, the one she had carried all week in her canvas bag. She turned to the very last page. And she wrote, "He was right." She closed the notebook. Richard Osei built a store. Amanda Osei built it back into something worth keeping. Some legacies skip a generation. This one came home. The end. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the story, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and share to others. Also leave a comment to share your thought about the story.